Hey guys, and welcome back to another video here. Today we are going to be looking at one of the runners that took place last week. We are looking at TLRY. As you can see, this is a beautiful stock chart, and we are going to jump in and dissect and see exactly what transpired with this particular stock. So, pretty cool here. Like always, guys, make sure you are hitting that like, subscribe, post notification bell, and share this video out. I mean, what we're looking to do here with this channel, we're looking to give you guys a ton of content, really going over the back office, so to speak, kind of information because ultimately what happens is whether you're day trading, swing trading, no matter what your strategy is, ultimately, it's being familiar with charts, being familiar with what they look like, being familiar with the formations. It's really going to give you the advantage over time. So, right now, what I like to call this is whiteboard time, even though we're not on the whiteboard, we're looking at the charts, but ultimately the downtime, the time when the market's not moving, the time, your study time. The more that you put into this, the more you're going to get out of this, guys. And we're going to give you guys a ton of content to be able to go over a ton of content to be able to break things down, look at information, look at data, and you'll start to notice the stuff rhymes. You start to see it over and over and over again. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 year chart of TLRY. As you can see, it's moving from left to right in a downward motion, but as you can see, what's going on in this most recent segment is a push that's taking place. So one thing that I want to try to make sure I'm conveying up front is that these stocks are normally multi-runners, meaning they'll run for more than 1 day or they've run in the past. And so if that's taken place, one of the things that you guys really need to do, you need to make sure that you're going back far enough in the history to get a really good idea of what support as well as resistance. Okay, that's very, very important that you do. So as you can see, we are in the 1 year 1 day right now. And as you can see, over that time frame, the high was $24.13. Now, if we go back to the 5 day, you see the high got to the $8.74. So ultimately, there's levels that are being created here, and we can utilize that whether you're day trading or swing trading. So, with that said, we look at multiple time frames to kind of paint a picture for us, kind of get a good idea of what's going on. Right now, we're in the 5 day, 5 minute. So, as you can see, after hours on Tuesday, there was a nice little run up. Okay. Now, what I tend to like to do too, guys, and we're now talking on a more higher level way of looking at things here. But what I also like to do is I like to tend to look at what was the news for that day as well. So when we're looking at what happened after hours, was there some news that day that helped kind of move this stock up? Something you guys need to keep in mind. Now, as you can see in and of itself, there was the move. Looks like it got to about 670, actually 669. And obviously in pre-market the next day, which was the Wednesday, you had that kind of nice little sag off, and there wasn't much that happened in the trading day that day. Okay, we get into after hours, same deal, not much going on, and pre-market, not much going on. Now, as you can see, everything looked very similar to what was going on the previous trading day here on the Thursday. But then, as you can see, once we got into around power hour, because you can see at the bottom of the screen it's showing you that 1140, 1145 range, you start to see a massive move up. And you see that it breaks the 669 from the after hours from the previous day, right? Well, the day before that, because this is 2 days before. But you see that that's the actual line that we're looking at there to break. Okay, and as you can see, it did do that right around here, right around that noontime hour, and that just sent the stock moving like crazy all the way up into after hours and kind of settling in at that 848, 850 range ultimately. So as you can see, that's a pretty massive move because in essence, once it broke out that 670 level, it basically got all the way to 850. So that's a really, really nice move. And since we are on the 5 minute chart, let's go over to the 15 minute so we can get a better look. So as you can see, from the time that it made this move here at the 11:30 hour, there wasn't another green candle. Did you guys notice that? I mean, that's good to know because ultimately that shows some extreme buying power that's coming into the marketplace. So as you can see here in the 15-minute candle, you had 6 million shares traded here at 11:45. You had 14 million traded here at noon, and you had 13 million traded here at 12:15, so on and so forth. 11 million at 12:30, 12:45, 17 million. Now the reason why I'm focusing on the volume aspect is because volume is extremely important. When we're moving in and out of trades, we want to actually, trade out as volume is high because it makes it easier for you to get in and out of the trade. Now, for some people, you might be dealing with smaller amounts. Some people might be dealing with fairly, sizable amounts, and some people are dealing with huge amounts. It The execution of it is still important. So you don't want to get sloppy if you're only trading, 100 shares, and you're risking, $600-700. Obviously, you can get in and out of that relatively easy because there's going to be, buyers and sellers all present at the same time. But it's good to set that precedent now because what happens is when you get to a point, maybe today you're trading 100 shares at a time, but in short order, you might be trading 500 shares and then 1,000 shares. When you get to that level, you have to be very, very careful on knowing, where your entries and where your exits are and being able to execute them flawlessly. If you're able to do that, it's going to maximize your profit. And I know that's one of those things that, obviously that's, the case, but a lot of people tend to take that for granted because they'll say, okay, well, my exit, let's say my exit in this case was, a 660, but they miss it and they hit, 657 or whatever the case may be. Well, if you're trading, 1,000 shares, that's a substantial amount of money. Just because you didn't execute properly. But as you can see, like I said, with the 15-minute candles here, you didn't get a 15-minute candle, well into, the after hour session. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You had 8 green candles in a row, right? In the 15-minute time frame. So what that told you is that there was extreme power moving upward with the stock, and there was just not going to be much of a let up. So that's the reason why it's very, very important, guys. When you're trading, you want to look at multiple time frames because it's going to paint you out a better picture. If we just looked at the 1 minute, as you can see, there's just so much action in here, and it kind of gives you a lot of information to see, a lot of data to see. I like to back it out a little bit and try to get, a little more there, right? So that's the reason why I use the 5 minute 15 or 5 day 15 or the 5 day 5 minute. And the 5 day 5 minute is one of those staples that I tend to use. So TLRY itself, ultimately we see the move here and we see the breakout. We see the next space here is $8.50. And ultimately, if we're looking to play the breakout again, we're looking for a move beyond the $8.75. In the perfect world, that's where we're at. So ultimately, that's what we're aiming for in the micro. Now, in the macro element, we need to back it out. Let's look at the 1 year, and we can see if there's some levels here. Um, so yeah, it looks like here, next good level would be somewhere around that $10 range, um, because as you can see, kind of created that nice little wick there. So yeah, it looks like there's some movement here. I mean, obviously it could retrace as well because these are some pretty drastic moves here with these two candles. And as you can see, these are day candles. You can see that here at the top. That's what we're looking at when you push the timeline out to 1 year, 1 day, right? So these candles represent a day. So as you can see, you had some pretty tremendous movement in the last 2 days of the trading period. As of this video, we're looking at it on a Sunday. So ultimately, we're going to see, how the market responds and how this reacts on a Monday. But this is a really good case study, and I like looking at these kind of stocks in particular because they tend, when they run, they do tend to run pretty nicely. As you can see here, again, looking at the volume, let's take a look here at this particular area here. So as you can see, and this is just more for my information, but we're looking at the 5-minute chart at the open, which was 6:30. There was 18 million shares traded there. Now, as you can see, ended up being a red candle. You see this tremendously wild wick, right? So that means it pushed all the way up here, but it couldn't sustain it. So that's something that we need to kind of keep eye on too, because it couldn't sustain that 835 level before. We need to see if it does continue to move upwards, if that 835 level could be kind of pushed through, which is, well, actually it's more like here. But yeah, that's interesting though. We had that there like that. Well, as you can see, it took it out, obviously, as the trading day went by. But that's one of those I make a mental note of because, as you can see in the after hours, it kind of slumped back down to that 817 level. So yeah, 835 is one of those things I definitely want to keep an eye on myself. Just kind of looking at this stock in general. 850 is a level I'm going to look at, and then obviously breaking through that high um, of the after hours of the 871. But yeah, that's one of the things that we're going to be looking at, guys, because there's a lot of people in the stock right now. There's a lot of buzz behind the stock as well. So those are one of those things when you put all of it together. Um, you definitely want to, make sure that's something that's on your watch list because, yeah, TLRY brands, it's one of those things where because it's moved multiple times before in the past. This is one of those hot stocks that people tend to like to keep on their radar. So yeah, that's pretty much how that works, guys. Now, again, like always, make sure that you are hitting that like, subscribe, post notification bell. Because again, we're going to continue to bring you guys these stocks here. A lot of stocks have been breaking out lately, and that's wonderful for us to see because it creates opportunities as the stock goes up and even when it goes down. So, we're going to keep a close eye on this. This is a tradable stock as far as options are concerned as well. I'm probably going to make another video wrapped around that. This is really just looking more at levels of resistance and support, seeing where you can get in and get out. Obviously, you can also utilize this if you're day trading as well as swing trading, because this particular stock provides multiple opportunities. So again, if you're that type of person, you're not able to sit in front of the computer the whole day. You have a full-time job, requires that you're not able to stare at your screen, whether it's your phone or your computer. You can also swing this as well. Same rules would apply as far as levels of support and resistance that you would be taking a look at. And yeah, what we're doing is just literally building it over time, looking at one stock at a time, one trade at a time, and literally learning the behaviors and the patterns and seeing when things are happening at the times of day that they're happening, and that way we are more equipped to be able to have an executable trade and a winning trade. All right, guys. So till next time, we will check you out in the next video. Again, make sure you're hitting that like, subscribe, share the video out, and also hit that post notification bell because we want you to make sure that you guys are getting this information as it comes, so you guys will be equipped and ready to go. We'll check you guys out in the next video.